Hello, everybody. Mizelle here. So today I'll explain to you about your stock price report project. So during the entire school year, you've been tracking the price of a stock that you selected for a publicly traded company, and every day as you're blue, you would go to Morningstar.com, pull up the stock price on that particular day, put it in your Excel spreadsheet, and also you created a graph. So this past week you were tracking your stock for the last week, and you were supposed to submit on Adsby the final spreadsheet with all the data and your graph showing the movement of the stock for that particular company during the entire school year from August all the way through um, to now, to April. So now it's time to put it all together and create a report explaining what has happened over the past year with a particular company, why the prices of the stock has fluctuated as they have according to your data, and you will present it in a report format and submit it to Adsby. So what you see over here is the outline for your project. So a few things to keep in mind. You will have 2 weeks to put this report together. So the due date is Friday, May 1st. You will submit it to Adsby using the appropriate submit button for your stock report project. And you're going to do your project on Microsoft Word. I highly recommend you to select a report template. There are several templates on Word that are very professional. You guys are very familiar with it. You have used them in the past, multiple occasions for several classes. Pick a template that you like and stick to that formatting. You need to organize your information in headings, subheadings. You need to include pictures in your report. And you must include a cover page and a reference page. So let's go over the information that you need to include in the report. Like I said, the report must be typed on Microsoft Word. You want to keep it in double space and with a 12-point font, Arial font. So 12-point Arial font, double space, typed, and a minimum of 5 pages. So 5 pages excluding the cover page, 5 pages including the reference page. Now keep in mind, you're also adding pictures and you're adding your stock report graph that you've been tracking during the year. So it's not 5 pages of strictly typed information. You're gonna put pictures and graphs and stuff like that. So 5 pages is not a lot. It sounds like a lot, but you know it's not a lot. So here it is. So you're going to include, again, a cover page. In your cover page, make sure you include your name, the company name of the stock that you've been tracking, the course, and just as a reminder, this is personal finance, and the period. So either third or fourth period. So that information must be in your cover page. Then when it comes to your report, so you want to include a header and a footer throughout your report. I'm going to be checking for that. The header must include your name, the report title, and that information must be right aligned, okay? Not left aligned, right aligned. And then in your footer, you're going to include page numbers. It's up to you if you want to make it centered, right aligned. It's your call. But you must have header and footer. So regarding the content of the report, so you must include the following sections. So there are several sections over here for you to follow and make sure you include in your report. And it will be easier and better organized if you have a heading for each of these sections. So the first section is the company information. So in this section, you're going to provide information about the company that you've been tracking, the background, the history of the company, when was it founded, where is it headquartered, what type of company is it, what industry is the company specialize in, what products are some of the major products they produce or sell, or services they provide. how many employees, what's the size of the company. I also want you to look up the average annual sales or revenue for the company. So try to look for their financial reports. That should be pretty easy to find what's their average annual revenue or sales for the year of 2019. You probably won't find much for 2020. You may find for quarter one, quarter two. So look up information that you can find and include that in there. How about expenses? How about profit? What's their profit margin been? How much have they made in profit over the past year? So look up the information again, as much as you can find, as available as it is. Also, where are they located? How many branches? Do they have international offices or branches, etc.? So any information that provides any background and data about the company, I want you to include in this section. It's all about the company. Who is this company? What do they do? Who are they? The second section will be you're going to have to identify major company events, and you're going to focus also on the company's performance for the year of 2019-2020. So when we say 2019-2020, we're really focusing on the time frame that you've been tracking your stock, which is August or September, all the way through August, September 2019, all the way through April 2020. So you need to look up what major events have taken place with that particular company during this time period. Were there any changes in management? Were there any mergers, any acquisitions? Did they have any big losses? Any new product launches that happened during this time frame? Any scandals? Anything that hit the news? Any tragedies? So there's lots of things that could have happened over the past year and that could have impacted the stock price for that company. So look up any major events, maybe expansions, maybe they've expanded to other countries, maybe they've added new product line, maybe they purchased another company. So what has happened? What were some of the major company events over the past year? And how has the company performed? What was their performance like? Were they a successful company? How were their sales during this time frame? How about losses? Did they have losses? Did they have to lay off people? So what has taken place? Look up all the information. So the second section, you're gonna focus strictly on companies' events and performance during the time period of August or September 2019 through April 2020. Okay. Third section of your report. This is where you're going to include your stock price graph that you created during your Blue throughout the school year. And you're going to get that from the Excel spreadsheet that you've submitted this past week. So in this section, one thing that I want to clarify, it's very important. You are not going to copy and paste the data. I don't want to see your daily stock prices every single day during the school year. I don't want that information. All I want to see is the graph that shows the line graph that shows the movement of the stock during the time frame that you've been tracking. So only the graph will be in this report, not the data. Okay, so do not copy and paste the data, simply the graph, the line graph for your Blue. That's what's going to go in this section. The fourth section of the report, now that you have your stock graph, your stock price graph on the previous section, now you're going to have the stock price analysis. So in this section, I want you to consider the following questions when typing the information in this section. Are there any patterns observed in the stock price movement for this company over the past year? What do you notice when you look at the graph? When you're looking at the graph that you generated from the Blue that you've been tracking, are there any ups and downs that are distinct, that really stand out? What are some patterns? And then if you find some ups or some highs or some major lows, where has that happened? What month? Look at the month. Look at the time frame. What time frame was that? Did that coincide with anything happening in the world or in the country or in that particular company? Okay, maybe for example, and I'm just throwing an example out there. Okay, I don't know if this is accurate, but when um, the latest iPhone was launched, was there an increase? Was there a spike on the Apple stock right on the month that either prior to the launch of the new iPhone? So let's say that the new iPhone came on stores November 1st, but everybody has been talking about it in October already, during October. Do you notice any spikes? Maybe you see the graph going up in October, and when you do your research, you realize that, oh wow, the new iPhone was about to come to market just the next month. So that's one piece of information that's very important for you to keep in mind, and that will be part of your price stock analysis. So also, how does this relate, those movements that you identify in your graph, how does it relate to the company's performance during the year? Like I said, if you see an increase or your graph going up, what has happened in the company? How does it relate to to its performance during that time frame? Are there any outside factors that may have impacted the stock price fluctuation? Any external information, external event that has nothing to do with the company but had an impact, maybe a war, maybe some tragedy, maybe a natural disaster, maybe coronavirus. What events outside of the company could have impacted and could have resulted on what you see happening in the stock price graph? So I want you in this section to really look at your graph. You're going to start off by analyzing your graph and identifying the highs and the lows, identifying any patterns that stand out. And then look at the time frames and look at what has happened in the company. What were some of the major events that took place that you highlighted in the second section? What are some things that were happening in the world or in the economy that could have impacted the performance of the stock and that fluctuation in price? And you're going to identify those things that you've pinpointed, those events, and make a connection with the fluctuation of the stock price. Okay, and you're going to explain in your own words. You're going to make an analysis and explain why the stock price had a 5-point drop on November 30th. What happened that day? Okay, so that's the fourth section. The fifth section, and that's pretty much the last section of the report itself. This is your personal reflection and advice. Now you are putting you're putting on the hat of a financial advisor. So after researching with all the information that you've seen based on the graph, based on the stock price analysis, knowing what you know about the company's performance and any of the major events taking place this past year, what is your perception regarding the overall performance of this company? Based on the information you saw, what do you think? What is your perception? What do you believe? Do you believe that this company is performing well or not so hot? Do you think that they've done well as a company during this past year? Do you feel like they're struggling? What do you think their performance is like or has been based on the information you analyzed? Also, the other question to keep in mind, would you recommend others to invest in this company? So now, as a financial advisor, as a financial planner, would you recommend your client to buy stock in this company? to invest in this company. And I know we talked about investing in single stock and how it may not be the best investment strategy because it requires a lot of monitoring and research for you to really know what's happening in the market and with the companies for you to be successful with buying single stock. That's why we talk about mutual funds, ETFs, index funds. But in this situation, if you had to recommend a stock, would you recommend your client to invest in this company? Why or why not? Always explain, always give your why behind it. Okay. And the last thing for you to also include in this section, would you personally invest in this company? So the last question was, would you recommend someone else to invest it? But how about you? Would you invest it? Would you put your money in this company? Why or why not? So always explain your reasoning. Okay, so this last reflection, you're really giving your personal reflection and providing advice. So what are your thoughts about the performance of this company during this past school year? And would you recommend others and yourself to invest in this company? Last portion of the report, after your actual information and the content, of course, you're going to include a reference page. The reference page must be on a separate page. So even if your report ends in the beginning of the page, you're going to add a new page for the reference. Okay, so reference page should be in a brand new page. And you should always have at least 5 references. We're not freshmen in high school anymore. We're not in middle school to be requiring 3 references. You need to have a minimum of 5. And when we say 5 references, we're talking about 5 solid references. Please do not include Google as a reference. Google is not a reference. Google is a search engine. Avoid using Wikipedia. Wikipedia, you can find some reliable information, but you have plenty of other places to find information about the company that you're tracking. These are big corporations you're tracking the stock for. You can go in their websites. There's plenty of other places. Do not use Wikipedia. Okay. Remember, you're getting ready for college. Your professors are not going to accept certain types of sources. So let's practice applying those best practices, minimum 5 references. Your report will be checked for plagiarism, so please do not just copy and paste information. And of course, do not copy and paste from each other. If you are gonna borrow information, of a lot of the information in this report will not be your own that you develop or created yourself. You're going to be taking information from sources. That's why you're going to have a reference page. But present it in your own words. Change the wording. Don't copy verbatim because that's plagiarism. This is a serious, it's something serious. And colleges, universities can expel students for that. So let's practice. There are several tools online where you can check yourself to make sure that your report has not been plagiarized, and you want to go ahead and follow those expectations. Other than that, make sure that your report has been spell checked, that it looks professional, that is neat, presentable, that it doesn't look like a draft. Make sure you include all the requirements listed in this handout, and submit it to ADSB by May 1st. And guess what? After this, we only have one more thing to do, and that's your capstone project. And then you're done. You're graduating. You're almost done. We're so close. So keep up. Continue working hard. You're almost over. You can do this. And I hope to hear from you on ADSB or to see you at our next Zoom meeting on Wednesday at 10 a.m. Bye-bye.